Okay, so we're going to get started. Now, this project is very CSS heavy. That's what we're going to mostly be focusing on. We do need to add some JavaScript to have the hover effect, but a lot of this is going to be styling. So the HTML is actually going to be really simple. Let's just jump right in here, and this is a split landing page. And I don't know why I just did that. And we're going to get rid of this H1, and let's wrap everything in a container. And then we're going to have the left and the right. So both of these are going to have a class of split, and this one will be the left. So we'll also give it a class of left. And then in here will be, let's do an H1, say PlayStation 5, which is definitely my choice. And then we'll have a link formatted as a button. So I'm going to give this a class of btn, and it's not going to actually go anywhere. And then for the text in here, we're going to say buy now. Okay, and then what we'll do is just copy this. So this whole div right here, I'm going to copy that down and just change this to right. So this is the right side, and we're going to change this to Xbox Series X and buy now, and that's it. So very simple HTML. It's going to look like this. So we're going to jump into our style sheet. I'm going to use the Roboto font, so we're going to keep that. And then for the body, I'm not going to use flex, so I'm going to get rid of all of these. And yeah, so that should be all set for the body. Now I'm trying to figure out what we should style first. We'll do the content last, like the heading and the button. So let's start with the container, which wraps around everything. We want to position that to be relative, and we want that to have a width of 100% and a height of 100%. And then the background, we'll set that to 333, which is a dark gray. All right, and this space up here is from the margin on the heading. Now for the split, remember both sides have a class of split. So we're going to position the split absolute within the container, and the width is going to be 50%. So each one will be 50%. The height will be 100%, and the overflow, we want that to be hidden. All right, so now it's positioned. Let's do this the left side. So if we say split, and we want to target the left side, so dot left, I'm going to set from the left 0, and let's add the background, which is going to be a URL. Now I didn't actually bring the images into this yet, so I'm just going to grab these, and you can get these in the repository. And of course you can use any images that you'd like. So I'm just going to bring these over. So we have the PS5, we have the Xbox. So these are the two images that I'm using. The left side is going to be the PS5. So in here, let's say ps.jpg. Okay, so we can see the background. And we're going to add an overlay to each side, but at least we have the background. And then I just want to set the background, say background repeat. I'm going to set to no repeat, and background size I'm going to set to cover so we see the whole thing. All right, so that's good. Now for the overlay, actually let's do the right first and then we'll do the overlay. So let's say split with the class of right, and we want to position that on the right side, so from the right 0. And let's add the background. So background is going to be a URL, and it's going to be Xbox JPEG. And let's set the background. Oops, forgot my semicolon here. So background repeat will be no repeat, and let's set background size to cover. All right, so I saved that. Now we have both images side by side. So now we'll go ahead and do the overlays. So we'll start with the left overlay. So we're going to use split left and then the before pseudo selector. So : before, and we're essentially styling, like, you can think of it as a ghost element that we're going to place over the left side. So when we use before or after, we have to use a content property, and we're just going to put just an empty string for that. And then we want to position this to be absolute, and it's going to have a width of 100% of its container. Same thing with height, that's also going to be 100%. And then we want the overlay, which is going to be a background color. Now I'm gonna put this in a custom property or a variable just so it's easy to change. So let's do var, and we'll call this dash dash left dash bg dash color. Okay, and then let's go up to the top here, and we want to define on our root scope dash dash, what do I call it, left dash bg dash color, and it's going to be RGBA, red green blue alpha, because we needed to have some transparency so we can see the image behind the overlay. So the color is going to be a bluish color, so 87 for red, 84 for green, and 236 for blue, and then for the alpha value will be 0.7. Alright, so if I go ahead and save that, now you can see we have this blue overlay, and while we're at it, we might as well do the right overlay. So let's change this to right BG color, and that's going to be, it's going to be a little lighter than black, so we're going to do 43 for red, green, and blue. And then for the alpha value, let's do 0.8. And then we'll go down here, and where we have our split left before, I'm just going to grab that and go under the right here, and let's change this to split dot right. So now we're targeting the right side, and let's see, this stuff here is going to be the same 100%, and then the color is going to be the right BG color, which just makes it a, it's like a gray, dark gray. Alright, so that's good. Now, let's see, trying to think what I want to do next. Let's style the content now that's inside of it. So we have the text, the H1, and the button that we want to style. So let's do the H1 first, and I'm going to put that right up here. Say H1. I'm going to increase the font size. Let's do 4 rem units, and the color is going to be white, and we want to position it. So let's do position absolute. So it's going to be position absolute on its, in whatever side here, and we want each one to be in the middle. So what we'll do is say from the left 50%, and from the top we'll do 20%. Now if I do that, it's going to put the beginning of the H1 right in the middle, and that's not what I want. I want the middle of the H1 in the middle of the side. So to do that, we just need to add a transform, and we're going to transform on translate X. So we're going to move it on the X-axis, negative 50%, and now it's going to put it, right in the middle. Now I don't want them to go on the next line. I don't want this to wrap, even if this is smaller. Like if I span this out, it's on one line, but even if it's smaller like this, I don't want it to wrap. So we need to set the white space property. So let's say white space, and we're going to set that to no wrap. So now even if it's like that, it's still not going to wrap, which is what I want. Okay, so that's the H1. And now I think what we'll do is style the button, and then in the next video we'll do the hover stuff and add our JavaScript and the rest of the CSS. But let's style the button. So that has a class of btn, and I'm just going to close that up. So first thing I'm going to do here is position it. So let's say position absolute. So it's going to position the absolute within its container, within its side, and we want it to be in the middle. So let's say left 50%, and let's do from the top, we'll say 40%, Now that's going to put the beginning of it in the middle, right? So this here, we want the middle in the middle, so we're going to add transform, and then translate x -50%. That's going to put it right in the middle. And then let's take away that underline, so text decoration is going to be none, and the color is going to be white. And we're going to add a border of white, so that, and then solid. And the width, I'm going to use a rem unit, so just 0.2 rem for the width. Okay, so we have our border. Let's make the font size, we'll do 1 rem for the font size, and then for the width of the button, we'll do 15 rem, and then let's add padding of 1.5 rem. And then we want the text to be in the middle. So what I'm going to do is actually display as flex, and then we'll align items center and justify content center. And let's also make it bold. So let's see, right under font size, we'll say font weight and set that to bold. And I want it to be uppercase as well, so add text transform into uppercase. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And I think that's it as far as the button styles go. Now we do want to have, let's see, yeah, we do want to have a background color when we hover over these. So let's actually define that as a variable up here so those can easily be changed. So we'll say dash dash left, let's do left or btn, so left btn dash hover dash color, and that's actually going to be the same as this except no transparency. So instead of 0.7 for the alpha value, we'll do 1. All right, and then for the right, let's say right button hover, and that's going to be something different. It's going to be the Xbox green, which is 28, 122, 28, and we're going to keep it solid, so 1. And now we can go down here to the button, and let's add, let's say split left dot btn hover, and we want to set the background, let's say background color, we're going to set that to the variable or the custom property of dash dash left button hover color. And the border color, because it has a white border by default, I actually want the border to be the same as this as well, so let's change the border color to that. So if I go over and I hover, okay, nothing's happening. What do I do? Split left button hover, background color. Oh, I forgot my semicolons up here. All right. So now we get that blue hover. All right, and then we'll do the same for the right side. So let's just grab that and change this to right, and change this and this to right as well. So now I come over here and we get that Xbox green hover color. So in the next video we have a little bit more CSS to write because we have to handle how wide we want it to go when we hover, and of course we have to add the hover effect by adding and removing classes with JavaScript. So we'll get into that in the next video.